Hello and welcome to another wilderness tamed video. Or is it? It's not gardening, it's not scything. I shan't be in any ponds. I'm actually having the week off from work because I'm between transport and I'm decorating the bedroom. So of what interest is this to you, fair listener, I hear you ask? Well, there's lots of videos of people doing feature walls using old pallet timber, which is exactly what I've got planned for this. Roll credits. Actually, not really sure I need to roll the credits because this is not gardening. Might not even be very wildlife friendly. The amount of dust I've hoovered out from under where the bed used to sit. Possibly got rid of a few spiders. But anyway, this alcove that you see behind me, and I'm now going to flip the camera, so hang tight, was when I first moved in a built-in wardrobe. So there were doors across the front there, very deep, almost goes into Narnia. And then above that was just plasterboarded and painted over, so that was totally lost space. Not sure why they did that. But I mean, it's 23 years almost that I moved in here. And it ripped the wardrobes out to make the alcove for the bed to go into. But now it's been a while since this room was last decorated. In fact, it must be, well, it's over 10 years, I would say. And I think it's about time for change. So I've got all this pallet wood, which I've, dismantled the pallets, stripped it down, jet washed it because a lot of it had sort of moss and old paint on and stuff. It's revealed some quite nice grain in some of it, and we're going to clad this alcove with reclaimed pallets. Now, because this wall is the front of the house and is west facing and gets the brunt of the westerly winds, and this wall is south facing, but it's the gap between mine and the neighbour's house, so it's a little sort of alleyway that runs between the houses, a bit of a wind tunnel. Exactly. And so they're both cold exterior walls, so when I stripped out the wardrobes and the panelling that was in the back, pretty much down to the brickwork from what I remember, so there's thin sheets of polystyrene and then this plasterboard which has been badly wallpapered on top of. Oh yes, that was me. I've lived with this for many, many years. Rubbish wallpapering, nightmare. So I need to prise these. You can see the boards don't sort of fit in very well. I need to prise those off just to see, remind myself of what's underneath. And then for fixing the battens on, I might fixing the horizontal pallet wood onto, might have to put some battens down. So yeah, rip this out, rip out the sort of coving here, and having spent almost 20 years with that exposed, you can see that there's polystyrene tiles in there, badly fitted in. I'm actually going to use some pallet wood to make some oldie-woldy style timber doors for that. Here we are at the first stage of stripping out the alcove. Some delightful wallpaper behind here, textured floral stuff, painted a really dark brown. I'm guessing the brown is on top of the white, which is where the built-in stuff went. Obviously the sort of lats fixed to the wall for the shelves and all the rest of it. But why would you paint the inside of a cupboard dark brown? So nice little lath at the top there. No skirting board in here. I'm guessing that there probably was some that we took out when we emptied the alcove, when we took the wardrobes out. And it was so well fixed to the wall, I've had to cement that pretty badly. Good job I'm covering that up again. But so you see it's plasterboard, there was lats fitted, same here. Polystyrene behind, which I've kept in good nick and stacked against the wall. It does make it nice and warm. So there's just the back bit to do. So the coving, the plaster coving, I've hacked off with a hammer and a substantial coal chisel. And then to prise off the plasterboards, I've just tapped this axe in on the back with this hammer and run it down the sides. And I mean, I have dinted the woodwork on the frame here, but that's all going to get repainted anyway. Just to hack that off. So that's opened like a door, but obviously because of the electric conduit fixed in there, I'm going to have to run a knife down the back of that just to cut the paper, which is all that's keeping these sheets of plywood together, is the lining here. It's actually quite tough. And in order to get that out without disturbing the conduit, and get the backing off as well. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's literally taken me a few minutes to do. One interesting thing is at the back of the coving that I took off here, there was a little scroll of paper, and it was a little message I'd put in, stating my name and date of birth, and when I moved in, my ex-wife's details as well, and then you know, sort of plans for the future and wishing any future residents a happy life in the house. But it was a bit out of date, so I've scrapped it. And when I did the spare bedroom, which is now the guest room, I put I actually took some floorboards up in the other room, and put a little money box in there with a note and some photographs, and yeah, a little sort of hard drive with some images on of what the house was like when we first bought it and all that stuff. Just like a little, like a geocache, a memory box, a treasure box or something. Time capsule, that's, I think that's the word I'm looking for. Like a little time capsule with a bit of history about the house, about the area. So if you are doing decorating things, I think it's a nice idea to hide little things away that future generations might discover. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get this off. Be back in a couple of minutes. So there it is, all scrapped out. So I'm going to need a few more lats of wood, these vertical lats of wood, before in order to fix the horizontal pallet wood in. So I'm figuring one in each corner, if they'll fit, which they do. One halfway along here and one in the corner there. Well, two in the corner, one for the stuff facing this way and one for the stuff facing, one for the stuff facing this way, one's for the stuff facing that way. Those two in there can stay. Another couple in each corner there around that boxing for the cable. That one's fine, and another one on the edge there. So let's go and have a scratch about in the timber pile and see what I've got. I've got my 6 extra slats. That one needs pinning in. It's a little bit tight in the top there, but I'll get that fixed in. Those two there, perfectly box in and disguise that conduit boxing. That needs, it's got to disappear down in the floorboards. That needs fixing in. One there and one there. So good to go. Get these fixed, and we'll be laughing. So got the vertical battens fixed to the wall, glued and screwed. So they should be fairly secure once the glue goes off. It's worked out alright. I'm going to now get the polystyrene sheets back in, and obviously some of them I'll have to cut because there's extra battens gone in there just to slot in between, so that just to keep the wall again nice and insulated, because it was pretty cold. So yeah, polystyrene in, just loosely. I don't bother, no point in gluing that, it'll be kept in by the horizontals once they go in. Plus if it ever comes to dismantling again, scraping glued polystyrene off a wall is going to be a miserable job for somebody, and I don't want it to be me if in another 20 years I come to change my mind about having pallets as a feature wall. Hey, you know, fashions come and go, got to be prepared for these things. So there we go. Lats in, polystyrene insulation back in. Yes, it's not very tidy. You know, a few gaps here and there. Had to cut a lot of that. But hey, it's going to be behind a load of timber. No one's going to see it. So honestly, I don't care. It's good enough for little old me. So yeah, let's start bringing some timber in. I think I'm going to do there's some broad boards in amongst what I got from various pallets, which I'm going to use as a kind of a skirting board sort of thing. Get them in and work my way up. A lot of people work from the top down, which I can kind of see the reasoning behind. But just kick the bag of rubbish. But yeah, I'm going to work from the bottom up. And I'm going to use apart from those broad boards that I've mentioned as a kind of a skirting, I'm going to use some of the not so interesting timbers on the bottom. And once I get up above the sort of bed head height and up the sides here, then I'll start using the stuff with the nice grain and all the sort of nail heads sticking out and the battered bits and the character. So the kind of less interesting stuff can all disappear behind the bed head and go down the bottom. That's my cunning plan anyway.